for animals that were being reared. This is a speech about veganism because I'm hoping to persuade you all to become vegans. I think if people really knew what conditions were like for animals that were being reared for food, then they would all stop eating meat. So I'm going to give you 4 main reasons why you should be a vegan. First of all, health reasons, and then animal cruelty, the environment, and because it's very wasteful to eat meat. But I'm going to subdivide those categories into smaller arguments. So health reasons. Well, the research shows that if you are a vegan, you are less likely to suffer from diseases such as heart disease, cancer. You are likely to have lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol, and be less likely to take any medication. So to sum it up, if you're a vegan, you will look great and you will feel great. Secondly, animal cruelty. There's so much to say about this. Animals are reared in very inhuman conditions, often overcrowded. Just think about the stocking densities for chickens, for example, where they're so crowded together, even if they're in barns, not in cages. And with the droppings, they end up surrounded by ammonia. So the chickens, for instance, the hens, get burnt. They get burns on their skin and their eyes. They get respiratory disease. It's quite revolting. And animals are routinely subjected to mutilation as well. So, for instance, the chickens will have their beaks cut off, but with no kind of pain relief, because otherwise they peck each other. They're in such unnatural conditions that their behaviour becomes unnatural as well. So overcrowding, mutilation, feed, the way that the animals are fed, either they are fed very unnatural things such as antibiotics to keep them healthy, or sometimes they are fed in a very cruel way. And I'll just give you the example of foie gras as an obvious example of overfeeding ducks or geese to produce a very fatty liver, which is considered a great speciality, but is horribly cruel. And finally, on animal cruelty, the way that they are slaughtered. Often animals are slaughtered without being stunned first, so it's a very cruel way of killing them. Now, the environment. There are many different aspects and things to say about how animal husbandry damages our environment. One is that we have vast farms with so many thousands of animals on them that they destroy the land. It can't then be used for any other purpose. Another important point is that the methane that's emitted by some of these animals, cattle in particular, contributes to climate change. And also the manure, the runoff from these vast farms, often in America, that cover hectares and hectares of land, then pollutes the waterways. So it's very bad for the environment. And I told you that my 4th point would be about how wasteful it is to eat meat. I think everybody is familiar with this argument that meat is actually a very inefficient source of calories for the human being, if you like, because to produce 1 kilogram of meat, say beef, you need between 4 and 10 kilograms of grain, because you have to feed your animal something before you can eat the animal. So why not cut out the middleman or the middle cow in the food chain and just go straight to eating the grain ourselves? It would be a much more efficient way to eat food and to be able to feed the whole planet, which has an increasingly large population. So those are the 4 main arguments, as I see it, in favour of veganism. And I think if you have a conscience, then reducing your meat consumption is as fundamental nowadays as doing something like recycling